I would say that even within our MP offices, we have a lot of these cases, and sometimes there's those cases that really hit you, that really make you feel like, wow, it was all this hard work, all this attention we had to give to the case was totally worth it. Sometimes the case doesn't go the way we want it to, but we're super grateful when it does. Is there a case that really was something that hit you, or an example you can give in one of the cases you were dealing with that you really were like, wow, it was really worth it for me to take this path?
Yeah, actually, in my first year practicing immigration, I had a case involving an American who had been in Canada for several years. He had overstayed. He had married a First Nations individual who tried to sponsor him. And there were all sorts of issues because he had a criminal record back in the States. She had financial issues, and it took like 4 or 5 years for him to finally get his permanent residence, and he's a citizen now. And it was the first case that I ever got emotionally attached to. I've since learned to draw that line between being very passionate about a file and getting very emotionally involved. But that case was, and it probably will always be, the most rewarding case I've ever done. And
yeah, I can attest to that, and I think you can too, that sometimes it's hard to know where to cross that line or draw that line of getting too emotionally involved, because sometimes the case is so deep, and sometimes it feels like that the people in front of you are almost like family members, like we need to get this case done.
Yeah,
so
there's another immigration lawyer in town who, after she was unsuccessful with a person's case, actually looked into what would be involved with adopting their children to try to keep them in Canada. Ultimately, I think her husband stepped in, but yeah, it's an area that you can get very emotionally involved with the files.
I fully agree with you, because it's sometimes seems like we're like the last line of defense for people, when sometimes people feel the most hopeless, and they come and they pour their heart out in front of you, and us being human, it's really hard to not be able to get emotionally involved. So I can completely understand.
Especially because you can often sense the injustice of it all. Even if you can understand why the system is the way it is, the way it interacts with people can be very, very frustrating, and you feel that frustration.